what's up guys? Naughty and Sans here for another very exciting episode of Learn How to Edit Stuff. Today we're going to be taking a look at the dual mirror effect. Pretty cool. Oh.
You've been asking for this video for a while, so I figured, hey, it's the holidays, might as well give back. It's actually a lot easier than you may think. We're gonna be doing it in After Effects because the masks are a little bit more pro than Premiere. You can do it in Premiere if you want, if you don't have After Effects, but today we're gonna be doing it in After Effects because it ends up looking better overall. Now, there are three things you'll need to do this shot. Number one is a tripod, okay? Your shot cannot move. Number two is the camera angle that you're shooting at. It needs to be kind of at a 45-degree angle to the mirror. You shouldn't be able to see the tripod legs in the shot. And number three is going to be timing and precision with your movements. When I walked up to the sink, in my head I was counting, okay, hit the soap, turn on the sink, counting to 10. Giving myself enough time to deliver the other line in the other take before I looked at the camera, so in that way it all adds up together in the end. So make sure that you rehearse the take a couple times and get the exact movements that you're doing in order to sell the effect. And then after the edit, I put some camera shake in post to kind of sell the effect a little bit more and to mask any imperfections in the masks so that you don't really pay attention to it and it sells the effect better in the end. I already shot my video, so we're gonna jump into After Effects. I'll show you guys kind of what I did in both takes and we're gonna make this thing happen. Open up After Effects, because we're getting started. We're going to click on New Composition. 1920 by 1080 at 30 seconds is going to work fine for this. Click OK. And then the first thing we're going to do is import our clip that we shot. So once your clip is imported, by the way, you're going to want to do this all in one take, even though it's two takes. Keep the camera rolling in between each take. So that way, if you hit stop record on your camera, it doesn't move the tripod slightly or whatever. Just let it roll because you can cut out the middle later. So do it all in one take, even though it's two takes. Let's keep going. So I'm going to drag this down onto my timeline here. And there you go. I'm setting up for the shot. And right there, I walk towards the soap. Nothing to see here, just washing my hands in this first take, and then I look at the camera right at the end there. But right now, we're gonna cut this clip right as I start to move forward to the soap dish. So right about there. And then in After Effects, you can hit Alt and the left or right bracket. So the left bracket will trim the layer there. And I'm just gonna move this back to the beginning of my composition. And then what I'm gonna do is just duplicate this layer. And then I'm gonna come to my second clip. I dried my hands off in the middle of each take. Very important, by the way. And then I'm going to come to my second take here, right here, where I start to move forward right towards the soap dish. Same exact thing, Alt, left bracket, and I'm going to bring this over to the front of my composition. So now they're lined up right on top of each other. Now, the nice thing about a mirror trick is that it kind of gives you an outline of where you're gonna mask. So it's a real easy mask. It should be really simple if you guys did it right and the timing is right. So all I'm going to do is click on my topmost layer, come up to my pen tool, and I'm just going to mask very basic around this mirror here. Just like that, nothing crazy. And then you'll see that this clip is now masked on top of the other clip. Now, what you should do, I'm gonna switch this over to third resolution, is just play it back and see what happens.
Oh, hey, what's up guys? Naughty and Sans here for another very exciting episode of Learn How to Edit Stuff. Today we're gonna be taking a look at...
All right, so it was looking good up until this point right here. You can see that kind of my hand from this other take has now entered into frame from my mask. So what I'll do is I'll just come in here and I'll adjust my mask a little bit just so that my hand is going to be out of frame. There you go. And also what I recommend doing here is coming up to your topmost layer, hit M on the keyboard for mask and tool down this thing and give it a little bit of feather. You never know. You don't want hard edges. So I'm just going to feather it 10%. And now we'll kind of scrub through at the beginning here. And if you want, you can click on here. Now you see how my hand is kind of being split in the masks. Now, if you play it back, you barely notice it, right? But I'm kind of a stickler for that kind of thing. So what I'll do is I'll come in here and I'm going to animate my topmost mask. So I'm going to come down here to mask path and I'm going to adjust this mask. And I don't really want to mess with the towel. That's just me. So I'm going to create another mask point under here. Maybe we'll do 2 mask points underneath the towel. Your guys will be different, right? So, and then I'm just going to do a hard angle here over to this other side. So basically what I want is I want my hand from the top take to be the hand that you see here. And then that way it's not going to give you any weirdness. So let's see what that looks like. All right. I mean, you barely notice it. You can kind of see it right here, but it looks like it could be a reflection. I'm not really worried about that too much. If you guys really want to go in, you can really go in and adjust this mask. You can animate the mask if you'd like. but maybe we'll just kind of pull it here just so that there's absolutely no way that this would be wrong. And you see the mask is kind of animating because we already had one keyframe there, which is good because it's actually pushing the mask out of the way of my shoulder. So let's come up and watch that, see if it works. All right, so now it's kind of cutting into my shoulder there. So what we can do is that once my hands are clear of frame, we can come in here, set another keyframe where it's at, go over one keyframe, and then adjust the mask. Now, a lot of people will tell you, if you've seen any other tutorials about this, that you should animate the mask slowly. But what I've found out is that if the mask animates slowly, you actually see the mask moving more than if you just click it over in one frame. So that's just my little trick. If you click it over in one frame, it's much less noticeable to the eye than a mask moving slowly over the course of like 10 keyframes or something. So one frame, click the mask over to where you need it, and then you should be good to go. Now, you can see it click over. So what you guys might need to do is, if I come in here, I'm going to go to my topmost layer. I'm going to come up to Effect, Color Correction, and go to Levels. And I'm actually just going to darken this top clip up a bit. I'm just going to move this little slider here on the histogram over just so it's a bit darker, so it matches a little bit. Because sometimes, you know, shadows and lights tend to move, and then you get a little bit of weirdness there. So that should be good, actually. Let's see. Yep, didn't even notice it that time.
Oh, hey, what's up, guys? Naughty and Sans here for another very exciting episode of Learn How to Edit Stuff.
Nice, that looks great. We'll come over here, we can trim our layers back by hitting Alt and then the right bracket this time. Then we can just kind of move our work area over to the end of our clip because that's where we're going to export it to. I'm going to export this out of After Effects and bring it into Premiere so we can do our camera shake presets. So up here, I'm going to come up to File, Export, Add to Render Queue. I'm going to click on my output module, and my default is set to do an alpha channel because I do a lot of motion graphics, but I'm just going to switch this over to RGB, QuickTime Movie. Animation codec is fine. You guys can use whatever you want. I'm going to use animation for this. Just RGB. Also export the audio. And we'll click on this and we'll save it. And then we're going to click render. Pro tip, guys, if you hit caps lock on your keyboard while After Effects is rendering, it actually won't render the preview in the preview window. I'll go back to it right now. It's rendering in real time. It's not rendering the actual preview window. And if I unclick caps lock, it will actually play the preview back while it's rendering, and it'll actually slow down your computer. So go ahead and hit caps lock. It will speed up your render. It won't actually render the preview in real time, and it'll save you just a little bit of time. Pro tip, let's go. Pro tips! And we're done. Brilliant. Exit out of After Effects because we don't need it anymore. And we'll just open up Premiere. Save your project, do whatever you're gonna do. I'll create a new timeline down here, 1920 by 1080. Brilliant. I'm gonna import the clip that we just made, drag it down onto my timeline. I'm gonna come up here to my effects. I'm gonna go to presets, and I'm gonna go to rampant real cam handheld camera presets. And I'm just gonna drop in, I think number 1 is the one that I use, subtle camera shake. And there you go. It will add a subtle camera shake to your video, giving it a little bit more realism, as if somebody was actually shooting into the bathroom, and then it gives it that effect, and you can kind of mask any imperfections, and just overall looks better. So use some handheld camera presets. Also, if you didn't see my video, the Zach King video, hidden in there was a little nugget of gold. I show you how to make your own handheld camera presets by shooting a piece of tape on the wall and then tracking it manually, so you can manually generate your own camera presets. Now, go and check out that video if you haven't seen it yet. The time code is listed on the screen. I'm gonna do it later because I don't know exactly what time it is, but go watch that video. You can go watch that video because we're done with today's video, all right? It's a lot easier than you probably thought. Remember the cardinal rules of doing the mirror effect. Number 1, use a tripod. Number 2, the camera angle has to be correct. And number 3, your timing and precision and body movements have to be the same in both takes. Generally, the hardest part about doing these kinds of videos and these kinds of effects is actually getting the timing right. So if you nail that, then everything else should be super easy to do. Remember to feather your mask on the top layer, and if you need to animate the mask to get out of the way of other like body parts, like my shoulder was in the way, just take a little bit of time. This does take time to do. It's not going to be perfect the exact first time you do it, but the more you practice, the more you do it, the better you will become. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I truly appreciate it. Hope you learned something today. You've been asking for this video for a little while. If you haven't yet, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and also check out the last video that you missed. You know, we're chock full of good stuff here at Learn How to Edit Stuff, you know? Never trying to let the people down, give you the information that you need to keep moving forward and keep doing your damn thing. Subscribe and also check out the last video, and I'll see you guys next week.